Once, in a quiet village surrounded by soft green hills, lived a young man named Marco. He was only 24, but his heart felt older, heavy with thoughts that never seemed to rest. Each morning, his mind woke before the sun did. Memories of the past whispered their regrets, while fears of tomorrow shouted their worries. His days became storms of noise, endless thoughts, endless questions, and no peace in between. He couldn't sleep well anymore. He forgot how to laugh. Even the beauty of the mountains around him felt distant, as if life itself had turned gray. Sometimes he sat by the river and watched the water move, wishing his thoughts could flow away just as easily. But they stayed, loud, stubborn, uninvited. One evening, as the sky turned golden, Marco heard about a wise old man who lived far away, in a small village high in the hills. People said the man once helped many find peace within themselves. And so, with a quiet hope, Marco decided to go. He didn't know what he would find there, but deep inside, he hoped to find a silence his heart could finally rest in. After many days of walking, Marco reached the village in the hills. It was quiet there, the kind of quiet that felt alive. The wind moved gently through the trees, and birds sang as if they were whispering secrets to the sky. At the edge of the village, Marco saw a small house wrapped in green vines. An old man sat on the porch, eyes closed, breathing calmly. There was peace around him, the kind Marco had been searching for. Marco bowed slightly and said softly, "Grandfather, my mind is never still. I am tired of my own thoughts. Can you help me find peace?" The old man opened his eyes and smiled, a smile so calm it felt like sunlight. He nodded and said, "Come with me. I will give you a small task." He filled a glass of water right to the brim and handed it to Marco. "Walk through the village and come back to me," he said. "But remember, not a single drop must spill." Marco hesitated, but he wanted to learn. He held the glass carefully and began walking. The road was narrow, filled with people, laughter, barking dogs, and the smell of fresh bread from the bakery. But Marco saw none of it. His eyes stayed only on the glass. Step by step, slow and steady. When he returned, the glass was still full. The old man smiled again. "Tell me," he asked, "did you see the children playing or hear the dogs barking?" Marco shook his head. "No, I only saw the water." The old man whispered, "That is peace. When your mind is where your body is, right here, right now, the past and future lose their power." And for the first time in his life, Marco's heart felt still. He had not only carried water that day, he had carried himself home. Marco stayed in the village for a few more days. Each morning, he helped the old man sweep the garden, boil water for tea, and watch the sunrise spread over the mountains like a slow, golden wave. There was no rush there, no noise demanding his attention, just the soft rhythm of life and the quiet understanding that everything had its own time. One afternoon, Marco asked, "Grandfather, what should I do when my mind fills up again?" The old man smiled, the kind of smile that felt like a prayer. He said, "When the cup fills, you empty it. When your heart feels heavy, you breathe. And when your thoughts run wild, you simply return to this breath." Marco looked down at his hands. They were the same hands that once trembled with restlessness, but now they were still. He realized peace had never been lost. It had only been buried under noise. When it was time to leave, the old man placed a small stone in Marco's palm. "Keep this," he said. "It will remind you that calm isn't something you find out there. It's something you return to inside yourself." As Marco walked down the hill, the world felt softer, lighter. The wind brushed his face, and for the first time, he didn't try to name the feeling. He simply felt it. That night, as he lay beneath the stars, he whispered, "I emptied my mind, and found my heart. And somewhere in the distance, the old man's voice seemed to echo in the breeze. When you are fully present, life writes its own letter to your soul.